everybody, it's Jessie here. I'm back with another video, but this time it's going to be a little bit different than my usual. I'm going to be talking about CIT training today. So if you are looking into becoming a CIT this summer, or if you already are one and just want to brush up on some tips, this is the video for you. This is a beginner's guide, so I'm going to be going over some beginners type stuff, like some situations you might see, and just stuff to be aware of before you go into it this summer. So let's get started. So, this is the topic of the video. What is a CIT? So a CIT is a counselor in training. A CIT is an integral part of a team that helps bridge the gap between older staff and campers. So a CIT is usually anywhere from 14 to 17 years old. They're in that in-between kind of awkward stage between becoming a counselor and recently being a camper. You don't have to be a camper at the camp you want to work at if you're going to be a CIT. You can just show up and apply for it. So CITs will have much involvement between planning activities and managing behavior of campers. CITs are in training. They are encouraged to ask questions. It is okay to make mistakes and you are here to learn. So CITs are in training. Like I just said in that bullet point, they don't need to know everything. That's why you are in training. You will have a counselor at your disposal. Usually you will be in the same group. You will get comfortable with asking that counselor questions. That counselor will mentor you and show you how to become more proficient in this job. By the end of the summer, CITs will have a bank of knowledge of how to be an active leader, which includes planning games, being creative, and understanding how to handle the multitude of situations that come with being a camp counselor. So CITs, when they first come in, they don't know anything. They don't even know the activities that we do. They don't know who anyone is. By the end of the summer, everybody's their friend. Everyone loves our CITs. CITs are one of the most valued members of our staff, as they are able to very easily communicate with campers, because campers trust them because they're still not on that older kid counselor level, but they're young enough where the campers feel, like I said, comfortable with talking to them. They can tell them things, they can still play games with them and feel like they're playing with someone around their own age. So what are your responsibilities as a CIT? So CITs have a lot of different responsibilities, but the main ones are planning activities, monitoring campers, leading games, and being a leader. So as a CIT, you will, along with the counselor in your group, be planning games, especially if you attend the camp that I'm becoming a director at this year. You will have a say in what your group is doing, so you are a big part of the leaders of that group. You will also monitor campers, so you will be assisting counselors with doing a head count every morning before we go out for an activity, during the activity, and after the activity. We always do head counts, so you can verify the counselors' head counts by doing one of your own. You also can keep track of counselors' behavior. This can include monitoring, listening. This can be stopping them from swearing. This can be just making sure that they participate in games. Anything like that is monitoring behavior. Another one, you will be leading games. You and the counselors will be showing campers how to play certain games, such as kickball, basketball, foursquare, anything along those lines. And being a leader. So with being a leader, that's going to be modeling behavior that we want our campers to follow, such as positive attitude, good listening skills, doing what you're told, that sort of stuff. So within this presentation I have for you today, there are 3 main points. We have camper safety, which is how to respond to safety situations that you may see in camp. Number 2 is managing behavior, which is handling bullying, frustration, and even swearing within your group, which we do not like. And 3 is leadership, how you can be a model for the campers and you can build them up into creative, understanding, and kind individuals. So, number 1, this is our biggest priority, is camper safety. This is the main thing you need to pay attention to during this presentation. So keeping track of campers, this is crucial. A typical group will have anywhere from 12 to 20 campers, at least at my camp, that's how it's done. Usually counselors will have 10 kids to themselves in a ratio. So if you have 10 two counselors, you'll probably have around 20 kids. So that means that we need to be doing head counts to keep track of all these kids. If you have 20 kids running around, you can't just let them be running everywhere, not paying attention to where they're going. So like I said previous in the video, a head count before and after every activity, as well as every 15 minutes during the activity, is what I do. Your camp will make you do before and after head counts, but I like to do some in the middle too of the game. So when the kids are playing, I stand back with my co-counselor and I count every kid. I also think CITs need to be moving around activities and ensuring that they're keeping an eye on every camper. Don't just stay with one kid. I know it is tempting to just sit with a kid that you're kind of half friends with, but you need to be moving around. You need to be keeping your eye on every camper. If you are outside and the camper needs to use the bathroom or go inside for any reason, you will be tasked with escorting them. This is not the counselor's job. This is a CIT's job. The CIT will be escorting kids back to and from the bathroom. If a kid needs to go home early, a CIT will be walking them down to their parent. So we really need you to be around us as counselors so we can keep a track on what you are doing so that you can take kids in that need to go inside. And very important, you are a key part of keeping the kids safe. You're not still one of the campers. You are a staff member, and you need to be watching these kids and making sure they are doing what they're supposed to be doing. All right, this is a scary one, and this happened 2 years ago at my camp, and it was a disaster because there was no plan in place. So what if a camper runs away? You need to stay calm. You cannot freak out. Don't run around telling all the campers, oh, Joey's missing, we can't find him. You need to stay calm. And you need to quickly let a counselor know that one child is missing from your head count. Usually we'll realize the kid is missing when we do a head count mid-activity. Sometimes kids like to run off into the woods, which they're not supposed to do. So that's why we do mid-activity head counts. So ensure your counselor is carrying a radio and have them immediately call through it to determine if another group has the camper. So it's also important to make sure that the director knows as well, because they can contact people in higher authority if the search is unfruitful for the kid, which hopefully will not happen. So we also need you to diligently look through the area you're in while calling the child's name. So make sure you stay in the area. As a CIT, I do not want you to leave that general area, but you can call for the kid, yell out for Joey. Say, Joey, where are you? Joey, you need to come here, type thing. But mainly, I really want you to ensure that no other child goes out of bounds looking for that missing camper. So kids, they love to help, and kids are awesome, but kids get too excited sometimes, and kids want to run through the woods to go find the other kid. They're like, oh, I know where he might be. Let's go run down the lore field. No, they need to stay in that area because we can't lose any other kids. So your job is to attempt to keep all campers in a small group near you and the counselors. This is another one that happens, especially if you live in a rural area like I do. Sometimes there will be a deer on the playground, which isn't a big deal, but every once in a while there will be a bear that comes out, and no one wants a bear on the playground with a bunch of 6-year-olds, okay? So what you're going to do as a CIT, if you spot a bear on the playground or a coyote or anything like that, you are going to immediately move children away in a calm tone. Don't tell them what you see. Just move them away. Say, okay, kids, everyone come over here now, type thing. Get them away from that area and tell your counselor immediately. Do not hesitate. Tell your counselor, because they can really round up all the kids. So then you are going to help the counselors gather all the children on the pavement or wherever you line up to go inside. And as you are walking inside, do a head count and make sure you have all your kids. And you need to ensure that no children have snuck back to look at the animal. Kids are curious. Kids want to see a bear on the playground. but that's dangerous. So we need to keep all the kids together walking inside. And a note, you are a CIT and you are not in charge of handling wildlife. Do not try to scare off the animal or mess with it in any way. Leave that to the director. You kids need to get inside. You need to be safe as well. If needed, the director can call a wildlife handler person, or hopefully the bear will saunter back into the woods, but you're not in charge of doing that, so don't even worry about it. Your priority is keeping the children away, calm, and safe. So sunscreen and bug spray. It's hot out. There's lots of mosquitoes. We need to be making sure we have sunscreen and bug spray on the kids. Usually at every camp there will be a med kit, and within it there will be sunscreen and bug spray. That's how our camp works. We have a big med kit that stays inside, and then a med kit for every group, and within it is a can of sunscreen and a can of bug spray. So we need to be sure that every child is sunscreened before heading to an outdoor activity. You will not be in charge of sunscreening or putting bug spray on the kids, but you are in charge of keeping your counselor accountable for putting these on the kids. Sometimes we will have parents come in and they are very angry, rightfully so, that their child has gotten sunburned the day before because the counselor forgot to put sunscreen on the kid. Or the kid, unfortunately, the children sometimes lie, and they might lie and say, oh, I put sunscreen on, when they really didn't. It doesn't matter. Unless you see the child putting on their own sunscreen, you need to make sure that the counselor is putting sunscreen on for them. And another one, I've been guilty of this in the past. Sometimes the kids will say, oh, I can put the sunscreen on, and they'll put it on themselves. And I'm like, all right, but no, we cannot have that. Because once you let the kids handle the sunscreen or the bug spray, they start spraying it in each other's eyes or mouths and doing a sunscreen war. It's too much. So just let the counselors handle that, but make sure they are doing it. And very important, get off your phone. At my camp this summer, phones are strictly prohibited. I'm sure at yours, your camp will also have a phone policy. You need to ask your director or counselor about that. But by being on your phone, you are putting children at risk. You're not paying attention. You're watching TikTok or Snapchat or texting your crush back. Okay, we can't have that. Your job, you are working right now. You are watching kids, and we really need you to be paying attention. If you are caught using your phone by your counselors or director, unless you're given permission to call a parent or to text someone to come pick you up, it may get taken away. That's how my camp works. If we catch staff on their phones, the director will take it until the end of the day. You have responsibilities, and you are important to keeping every child safe, and we need your undivided attention at all times. So, at camp, there will be injuries. Every day a kid gets injured. Every day a counselor gets injured. Most of the time it's no big deal, and the counselors will handle injuries. You don't need to handle any of this. You will not have access to the med kits, but these are some common injuries that you'll have to look out for. So skinned knees, bug bites, accidental running collisions, bumped heads, sunburn, these all happen often. Every day someone has one. So like I said, do not handle these yourself, but you need to tell a counselor if you notice any of these common injuries. Unfortunately, serious injuries do happen at camps. 2 years ago, I had a kid jump off a rock and break his arm, and it was a serious injury. So, like I said before, you will not be handling these, but if you notice this, you need to immediately go and tell your counselor. Sometimes CITs will think, oh, I'm sure they're fine. If you notice anything that can constitute a serious injury, such as concussions, broken bones, or allergic reactions, you need to immediately go to your counselor or director and tell them what you witnessed. So, my mission and my vision for you, you are crucial to keeping campers safe. The staff needs you. You're an important part. Don't belittle yourself and think you're so one of the campers. You're not. You're very important. I know that how responsible and vigilant you will be this summer. Number 2, managing behavior. How to address misbehavior such as swearing, conflict, and physical aggression between campers. Oh, we don't like this. So what is behavior that you can manage yourself as a CIT? So as a CIT, I would like you to correct swearing. So swearing is usually banned at camp. If you hear a camper swearing, you need to be issuing them a warning. If you hear a camper saying a bad word, please say, all right, we don't talk like that at camp. If you say it again, I'm going to tell a counselor. Usually they'll scare the kid and they'll stop swearing. And yeah, you can definitely handle that. That's not a big deal, but just try and really get through to them that they should not be swearing at camp. Not wanting to participate. Every game you will have a child that doesn't want to do it. If you're playing kickball, or let's say if you're playing wiffle ball like we do at my camp, a kid will go and sit in the dugout. You need to go up to that kid and you need to encourage them to join you in the game. If you have to stand with them every step of the way, that's what I want you to do. I want you to encourage these kids to play. Their parents are paying for them to come to this camp. Like, we don't want them just sitting on the side. If you encourage them to play and you ask them to be on your team, campers love that. They love the older kids wanting them to play on their team. Can you remember when you were young, around 9 or 10 years old, and an older kid asked you to be on their team? You probably were ecstatic. I was, for sure. So let's try and recreate that with some of our younger kids who attend this camp. Not following directions. So sometimes a camper will want to play a game their own way, or will cheat or do things like that, and we don't want that. We want these games to run smoothly. So I need you to pull the camper aside and clearly outline the expectations for behavior and the rules of the game. Usually that'll snap them out of it, but if it doesn't, if they continue not to follow directions, you need to tell your counselor and they'll handle it from there. Bullying. Camps have a no tolerance policy for verbal bullying. So if you see a kid singling out another kid, you could say, all right, you guys, how about we separate you? You go play over there, you go play over there. Let's have a good game. We don't like bullying. We don't like talking to each other like that. And you need to tell your counselor if you witness this. However, you can step in and show that it's not okay what the kids are doing. So as a counselor in training, you are going to have behavior that you should not manage. By managing some of these behaviors or trying to get involved, you can get yourself in trouble, which we don't want. These behaviors are only for counselors or directors to handle. So physical aggression. If you see a kid hitting another kid or attacking a counselor, which has happened, kids sometimes get really angry at counselors or even CITs and try and hit CITs. You need to immediately remove yourself from the unsafe situation, and you need to tell your counselor or director immediately. You should not get involved in putting hands on a child or anything like that, as that can dig you in a deeper hole. So verbal threats by a camper. So sometimes campers will get really mad if they lose a game, and they'll say things like, I'm going to kill you, or I'm going to hurt you type thing. I'm going to beat you up. We don't want that. That needs to not occur at camp. So if you hear that, you need to immediately go to your counselor or director and let them know what you heard, and they can handle it. Bullying that is ongoing. So I said on the previous page that you can handle bullying. However, if it is serious bullying, or if the bullying exceeds your first warning and you are seeing it still continue, even though you have warned the child and tried to remove them from the situation, you need to tell your counselor or director that is too big of a problem for you to handle. Next is suspected abuse. Very unfortunately, some children who attend camp may be being abused at home, and this is not your responsibility. However, if you suspect this, you need to immediately come to a counselor or director and share your concerns. Special needs. Every camp will include a child who has special needs, and like I said, they are included. They are included. Your group may have campers of different physical and emotional needs, and there will be children who differ in focus abilities and sensory difficulty. So some children, they may have ADHD and not be able to focus on the game. Some children may have autism and have sensory processing problems. You need to be patient and you need to be prepared to repeat instructions in a clear and concise way to them if they are confused. When a camper with different needs is upset, you need to remain calm and be mature and listen to their frustration. Sometimes it can get a lot if a kid is really complaining or is having a major problem with a game and you don't see what the problem is, but you need to be patient with them and understand that they have different needs and they want to vent about their problems. So, very important, you need to model kindness and patience for typical campers to follow. When you are patient with children who have special needs, the campers will also be. They really look up to you and they want to be able to see your reaction to different behaviors and how you act towards this child. So if you are indifferent to the kid and exclude them, they will do the same, which we don't want at camp. So as well as that stuff, we do not want you to intervene if there is a medical problem with the child, if the child needs to be taking medication, if the child is having a severe, let's say if they are having some sort of breakdown, you don't want to be included in that. You need to ask a counselor for help. That's not for you to deal with. So, like I've said so many times before in this presentation, you are a model for the kids, and we need you to show what a responsible and well-behaved camp participant looks like. We want to have a fun, safe summer, and the kids look up to you, and I am relying on you, and I believe that you can do it. Last part of this presentation is leadership. So this is how you can model a fun, rule-following member of camp for every child. So this is a huge one. Participate. So in the past, CITs at our camp weren't mandated to participate, but now since I'm a director, I am mandating them to participate in every single game and every single art activity. Because you know what? The kids want you to play. They don't want you to sit on the sidelines. That's so boring to them. And when they see you sitting on the sidelines, that's going to make them want to sit on the sidelines. They're not going to want to play the game. They're going to want to go sit on their phone. They're going to complain. You are a model for these kids, and they look up to you to see what you are doing. Communication is another big one. We want you as a counselor in training to communicate kindly and don't yell at the campers. They model their behavior and voices after yours. I understand sometimes it can get very frustrating if kids aren't listening to you or if they're doing what they want to do, but it is important that you do not yell. You can use a loud voice, but don't be mean to them. You can't yell at them. So this is an example that I put down here. Let's say a kid is running through the hallway. Don't scream at them and say, "Stop running, stop running." Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. That only makes the campers more crazy and wanting to do more crazy stuff. You need to say in a stern voice, but not mean. You need to say, "Walk, please, walk." And they will slow down and they won't be mad at you and they'll stop trying to act out. So also, we want communication with your counselors or director if you are unsure of something or if it's too big to handle. We are here to help you. There's going to be things that you're unsure about. There's going to be things that you don't know how to handle. I mean, you are between the ages of 14 and 17 years old. You're not expected to know all the answers to every question. That's why you are in training. We're here to help you. And helping counselors. Counselors may seem like they know everything and they've been around the block and they know every situation that can occur at camp. But sometimes counselors need help just carrying cones. That's going to be a big part of your job is helping counselors carry cones, balls, and other supplies. Another good way for you to also model this for campers is have them help you carry stuff to also help the counselors. So depending on the age of your group, you can have campers assist you with carrying certain items. This has been a problem though in the past. So say if you are walking from one place to another that includes walking on a road, do not let kids handle balls on a road because balls will bounce into the road and a kid will run after them into the road. It is extremely dangerous. However, if you are just walking from inside of the school or inside of the main building with balls to a field, it is okay to have counselors help you carry cones and hula hoops and stuff of the like. Another thing you can help counselors with is just listening. Just listen when the counselors are explaining something or telling kids how to do something. When the kids see you listening, they are more likely to listen as well. And also help plan weekly activities and games. Counselors want to hear your input. You're closer to the camper's age than they are. They want to know what the camper's like. They want to know what a kid your age wants to play. If there's a game that you guys all hate and the counselor still wants to play, share your concerns. Say, oh, I don't think the kids like that. How about we think about playing this game this week? I think that's a great idea. And very important, you need to encourage kindness within your group. If you see a camper being left out, you need to have them play a game with you. If you see the same kid every single day, sitting on the side, the other kids can be mean to them or bully them or leave them out, you need, as a CIT, to walk up to them and say, hey, Amanda, let's go, draw a picture. Something as simple as that. Or even ask them, say, hey, how's your summer going? When is your next big trip? What are you doing this summer? It's very easy. It's not a difficult thing, but you need to model kindness for these kids. We also do not want you to tolerate bullying or bad-mouthing of any kind. If you are hearing kids being mean to somebody, or if you are playing, say you're playing Pirates, and one kid from another team is being super mean to a kid on another team, we don't want that. We want competition in camp, but we don't want people to feel singled out or upset, or that competition where makes you just want to punch someone in the face. We don't want that in camp. We want fun competition. Like I've said before, the kids follow your lead, and you are the coolest in the camp to them. So be helpful, be kind, and have fun, and they will copy your lead. I know that you can do it. I know this is a lot of information, but it's really more simple than it seems. The counselors and the director are always there for you if you have any questions, or you can shoot me an email at jessiescrimo@gmail.com. I have 2 years of being a camp counselor. I have worked with kids since around 2017. I have a lot of experience, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.